from strange creatures to sudden and sometimes shocking, mystical, and even inexplicable incidents. Today, there are 50 incredible moments that were captured on camera. In one of the bars in Washington state, criminals were caught on surveillance camera stealing an ATM. This happened early in the morning, at about 5 o'clock in the morning. The footage shows two robbers bursting inside, one in a white t-shirt, the other in a black one. They used a cable to yank the ATM out of its fastenings, and in just a few minutes managed to drag it off in their truck, shattering the front door. ATMs are usually specially reinforced and equipped with security systems to deter tampering attempts. Sometimes criminals manage to damage the device itself, but getting inside to the money storage is extremely difficult. However, the speed with which these perpetrators pulled it off impressed even the bar manager. They did it in less than 10 minutes. In the United Kingdom, surveillance cameras recorded an unusual visitor to a police station. It was a horse that decided to walk into the building as if it had a question to ask. It all happened early in the morning. The horse calmly walked through the automatic doors and ended up at the reception desk. One of the civilian employees, noticing the horse, tried to figure out what was happening. Later, the police themselves jokingly recounted the situation, saying the horse posed no threat to public safety. It turned out that the animal had escaped from a nearby farm, apparently deciding to take a walk and satisfy its curiosity. A resident of a house discovered something strange on her surveillance camera footage. A small, skinny figure with long ears and an unsteady gait was making its way along her driveway. Its movement looked almost unnatural. Some internet users compared the creature to Dobby from Harry Potter, while others suggested it was an alien or some kind of prank. The homeowner was completely baffled. She posted the clip online, reporting that the camera captured the frames on Sunday morning, and she herself had no idea what it could have been. In the video, the creature suddenly disappears, cutting the whole story short. Some commenters are convinced it was just a child in a costume, but there are more questions than answers. In Chile, a surveillance camera captured a rare case of self-defense at a gas station. A man was calmly filling his car with fuel when a van with 3 hooded criminals drove up. They jumped out of the vehicle, intending to rob him, but the driver kept his wits about him. He grabbed the gas pump nozzle and sprayed the criminals with fuel. The thieves began to retreat in panic. One of them tried to go around the car but got another portion of gasoline right in the face. The van, doused in fuel, was forced to drive away, and the attackers fled. Many people online wondered why the man was so persistent in dousing them with gasoline. Some said it was a way to scare the thieves with the risk of fire, while others believed it would leave traces to help the police track him down. A married couple in Virginia was astonished when their surveillance camera recorded a strange glow on their porch. A flickering ball of light moved as if on its own. The couple, who live near a cemetery, are convinced that it was neither an insect nor a car headlight. The lights behaved too abnormally. Online, theories quickly appeared. Everything from the extremely rare phenomenon of ball lightning to ghostly activity. Some skeptics are sure it was just a bug caught by the camera angle. Others point out that Virginia is famous for its mysterious legends related to old colonies and the mystical history of this region. Nevertheless, no explanation of the phenomenon has been found so far. On a street in India, there was a scene that is impossible not to notice in footage from a street camera. A motorcycle parked near the curb suddenly began moving on its own and rolled forward for about 15 seconds before falling onto the road. Thousands of people viewed the video, wondering what could have caused it. Some believe it was the work of ghosts. Others blame a transmission defect or the slope of the road, while still others consider it a mere hoax and editing trick. In any case, the episode looks quite eerie and leaves a sense of mystery. In one region in northern Mexico, early in the morning, residents witnessed a frightening phenomenon. a huge flock of black birds literally fell from the sky. Some of the birds died immediately, while the rest scattered in different directions. Local authorities and veterinarians rushed to the scene to figure out what had happened. Possible explanations ranged from toxic fumes or pollution emissions to an electric shock from power lines. Someone even suggested that a predator might have scared them, causing the flock to lose formation and plummet. Yellow-headed blackbirds, which migrate from farther north on the continent, are common to the area. Such behavior is truly rare, and there is still no official explanation for why it happened. In a mysterious surveillance video, you can see a man effortlessly passing through a closed glass door of a store. In the footage, two people are initially dozing by the entrance. Then a couple appears, sees that the store is closed, and leaves. Right after them comes a mysterious stranger in a dark jacket. He seems to dissolve and walks straight through the glass. The lights inside flicker at the same moment, and within a few seconds, the man returns outside with some food. The dates on the camera jump between 2016 and 2019, making it look like a bizarre glitch in the Matrix. Non-believers in the supernatural are convinced it is staged, yet the appearance of the video itself sparked a flurry of talk about possible teleportation and time travel. In a jewelry store in Thailand, a thief tried a classic trick. He asked to try on a gold chain worth more than 500 monetary units and suddenly bolted for the exit. But he messed up when the store owner managed to lock the front door. Camera footage shows the criminal realizing he cannot escape, so he has to come back to the display counter and return the chain. The store owner called the police, and the man confessed to attempted robbery, explaining that he had lost his job and desperately needed money. In the end, the whole story ended up in court, and the video spread across the internet in no time. In a suburb of Perth, Australia, a surveillance camera captured a frightening incident. A car suddenly smashed through a fence and ended up in someone else's swimming pool. A woman was behind the wheel, and she could not get out by herself. Thus, the vehicle quickly began to sink in the water. Neighbors, hearing the crash, rushed over and managed to break the window with a brick, rescuing the woman from the sinking car. Thankfully, there were no fatalities, although she was unable to free herself. It later emerged that she was driving without a valid license and was under the influence of alcohol. In Peru, cameras and bystanders captured a touching incident. A boy named Victor did not have electricity at home and, in order to do his homework, sat under a street lamp right on the curb. The video went viral worldwide, showing the boy's genuine determination to pursue an education. When businessmen from the Middle East found out about this story, they decided to help and flew to Peru to set up a new home for Victor's family and provide the child with everything he needed. Now, the family has their own house with proper lighting, and Victor has been given a chance at a better life and continues to study diligently. In a store in Newton, Massachusetts, a woman attempted to steal expensive designer bags and a sweatshirt. Surveillance footage showed how a female employee tried to stop her, but the thief sprayed pepper spray directly into the employee's face before escaping. Similar pepper spray attacks started appearing in other locations as well. Pepper spray causes severe burning in the eyes and difficulty breathing, but this time, no critical injuries occurred. The perpetrator has not been caught yet, but the police have the recordings. A mysterious video from a park shows a man first appearing behind a tree, then running past another tree and suddenly vanishing from the frame. Online, people passionately debated whether it could be teleportation or a reality shift. Skeptics insist the footage is the result of clever editing and that lighting or camera angles can be deceptive. Late at night, an unexpected customer arrived at a 7-Eleven store in California, a brown bear. Surveillance footage captured it entering through the open door, grabbing sweets, and calmly eating them inside. The clerk, upon spotting the predator, kept his distance. After several ins and outs, The bear would exit and then come back. The employee found a moment to lock the door. When the store owner shared the recording, viewers remarked that the animal looked a lot bigger than one might expect. Apparently, in search of food, it was not afraid to come right up to the checkout counter. In a residential area, a surveillance camera recorded how a delivery woman, having completed an order, was heading back, but suddenly encountered a large husky. The woman literally froze in fear. She screamed, waved her arms, and even seemed ready to jump off the balcony just to avoid the dog. The dog's owner quickly calmed his pet and led it away, but the video instantly went viral. Later on, people learned that the delivery woman apparently had a severe dog phobia, cynophobia. Even though the husky appeared friendly, for someone who is terrified of dogs, it was genuine panic. In one video from a home security camera, internet users spotted what looked like a transparent cat calmly walking across the room. Many decided it was evidence that the spirits of pets sometimes stay close to their owners. There is a common belief that animal spirits are less tied to tragic events and instead remain where they were loved and cared for. Even if you are a skeptic, the footage of this ghost cat is still widely discussed as people try to figure out exactly what was caught on camera. An unusual incident occurred in a store. The camera captured a person who broke in not for gadgets or money, but to steal a mannequin from the window display. People online began guessing the thief's motive. Maybe he collects such items, or it was some strange joke, or something more personal, like an unusual hobby. The story is reminiscent of an 80s movie in which the main character falls in love with a mannequin that comes to life. In reality, there are documented cases of object sexuality, where someone feels a romantic attachment to inanimate objects. Apparently, the thief here did not try to hide and did not fear being caught on camera at all. An outraged employee at a filling station noticed a driver shamelessly lighting a cigarette right by the gas pump. The footage shows the worker grabbing a fire extinguisher and spraying the offender with a cloud of powder. The danger of smoking near fuel needs no explanation. Gasoline fumes are extremely flammable, and the tiniest spark can lead to disaster. So that extreme action could well have saved both the gas station and the people around. Although it looks dramatic, it might have prevented a serious fire. In one viral video, cars, motorcycles, and other vehicles seem to disappear without a trace as they approach the edge of a bridge. Many viewers assumed it was a portal to a parallel reality, teleportation, or a Bermuda Triangle on the roads. In fact, it turned out to be an illusion. The road went over a parking area at a slight angle, and reflections from metal, water, and camera quirks made viewers think vehicles were driving straight into a river and vanishing. A simple perspective trick that vividly shows how easily our eyes can be fooled. In a famous hotel on the island of Oahu, Honolulu, there was a delicate sand sculpture depicting two children in the traditional spirit of Hawaii. Its creator worked on the project and then went home, confident everything was done. But 1 month later, surveillance footage captured how a young tourist began scratching and breaking the figures, even knocking the head off one of them and throwing a pillow to do further damage. Later, the police received anonymous tips and identified the girl and her friend who were caught on camera. The sculptor had to return from another state to restore the damaged work, which of course required additional effort and expense. Something inexplicable happened near a construction site. An ordinary-looking man simply moved aside a huge truck weighing about 4 tons as if it were a light chair. Witnesses were stunned, not believing their own eyes. Some decided that they were looking at a person with a supernatural gift. Others doubted he was human at all. If he really is not from our world, then who could he be? Here, a girl casually shows her friend a strange trick. a few smooth hand movements, and the wind seems to follow her commands. Light gusts pick up leaves, gates nearby fly open, and everything lines up exactly with her gestures. It is hard to call it coincidence. It all looked too precise and synchronized, as though she was directing the air currents themselves. Is it possible that human abilities are far more grand than we usually think? Another incident of super strength was caught on camera. A man effortlessly lifted a fairly heavy Mercury Grand Mary car without any visible strain. At first, passers-by assumed it must be staged or some sort of trick. But there was no platform, no special equipment. He simply raised the car and walked away, as though he had done something completely ordinary. Was this a display of inhuman power, or was something off with the car? It remains a mystery. On the street in broad daylight, a man stands a few steps away from his grocery cart. It seems he needs help to push it closer, but to everyone's bewilderment, he just extends his hand, and the cart slides toward him on its own. No strings, no electronics, nothing but pure mystery. Some swear it is a complete hoax. Others believe we just witnessed real telekinesis. Everyone knows Spider-Man from the movies, climbing walls so easily, but this time something similar happened in real life. Between classes, a student simply scaled the wall of the school building with no safety harness or footholds. And the very next day, the girl did not show up for her classes and vanished without a trace. Rumors attributed a secret to her that she did not want to reveal. Apparently, she had her reasons for disappearing. A hotel night clerk could not believe his eyes while checking corridor footage. One of the guests stepped out of his room and suddenly encountered a group of people in military uniform. But no official military units entered the hotel. The camera shows him making several sharp movements with his hands, and all of the unknown figures drop as if struck by an invisible wave. No sound, no impact, only pure, inexplicable power. Who was this guest? And who or what were those soldiers who appeared in the hotel? Meanwhile, in a deserted area, a boy literally floats above the ground in front of tourists. Around him, large fans were blowing in various directions, yet they did not knock him down. He was hovering as though gravity had no hold on him. Some tried to offer a scientific explanation, talking about possible changes in air density. Others believed it was just an elaborate illusion or even a phenomenon science cannot yet explain. Outdoor surveillance cameras spotted a man seemingly playing with fire, but suddenly the flames began twisting, forming something like a portal. The man moved closer to this ring of fire and vanished into it, as if stepping beyond the limits of ordinary reality. Does this mean that there really are people among us who can open doorways to other dimensions? Old, grainy footage shows a man running alongside a train going at full speed. The train never leaves the tracks, and the runner never falls behind. His pace seems impossible for a human. He is not lagging, and does not even appear tired. Possibly, he could have overtaken the train if he had not stopped on his own. So, what secrets lie behind this extraordinary speed? An ordinary residential neighborhood suddenly became the set of a horror film when one of the local residents was seen floating above his house. He was not simply hovering, he was doing flips in midair, almost as if performing stunts for astonished spectators. The police who arrived were at a loss. How do you bring him down if he defies the law of gravity? Some whispered about ghosts. Others assumed he had unlocked some hidden human potential. Another anonymous clip went viral. A young man nimbly scaled the wall of his home using only his bare hands and feet, with no harness whatsoever. It seemed that gravity meant nothing to him. Some onlookers were left slack-jawed, while others claimed it was actually possible without superpowers. But more and more people are starting to believe that super abilities might be much closer to us than we think. An old video taken in early spring at a shopping center still unnerves viewers. In the footage, two men exit a building when something black and indistinct suddenly whizzes by at a dizzying speed. Trying to make sense of it, they rewatched the recording in slow motion and saw a small figure flying through the air. Was it a ghost, a child with a strange gift, or a camera glitch? There are more questions than answers. An experiment with two people's shadows led to an inexplicable phenomenon. Under a bright lamp, with their hands clasped, their shadows lay on the ground as usual. But when the woman withdrew her hand, her shadow vanished instantly, while the man's shadow seemed to lag, disappearing slightly later. Some attributed it to a camera defect. Others saw it as a disruption of the natural order. Could something invisible have interfered with reality? A frantic man ran into a police station, saying his father and an infant had disappeared literally right near their home. The surveillance footage shocked everyone. On the sidewalk, a dark figure appears, and in an instant, the two relatives vanish along with it. Were they taken by a mystical entity or something even more sinister? No one knows. In the end, they were never found, and the case is still open, unsettling the investigators. At a celebration among friends, a man began concentrating on a stone partially embedded in the ground. He extended his arms, and suddenly the boulder seemed to tear out of the soil and rise into the air, while dust swirled around and the earth trembled noticeably. Witnesses gathered in shock. There were no ropes or mechanisms, and everything happened right before their eyes. Some spoke of ancient practices, others called it a clever trick, but no one offered a definitive debunking. A mysterious girl anonymously posted a video in which she first seems to be catching some elusive signal in the air and then suddenly begins to rise off the ground. Even stranger, her staff floats beside her, as if joined to her by a single force. Skeptics say it must be staged, but there is no way to confirm it. You cannot ask the video's creator any questions, as her trail is impossible to follow. The recording itself makes many viewers replay it multiple times. A typical store with customers and carts, nothing unusual. But suddenly, a shopping cart rolls toward a little girl. Instead of jumping aside, she slowly raises her hand, and the cart suddenly changes direction. A man, following behind, stops in bewilderment. What just happened? An illusion? A lucky coincidence or something else? The people around simply look on, not understanding if they just witnessed a true miracle. In plain sight of a stunned crowd, someone calmly walked into a river and continued walking on the surface as if it were solid ground. Onlookers assumed there must be some trick, but there were no boards or platforms to be seen. Later, a similar case was recorded in another country where someone else also strode confidently across the water's surface without sinking even to the ankles. Perhaps nature is far more mysterious than we assume. Sometimes there are such strange pieces of footage that it becomes hard to believe they are fake. The situation looks too realistic. In the video, a man makes slight movements with his hands, and the leaves on the ground gather into a neat pile as though magnetically pulled together. Another person stands right next to him without showing surprise, as if he has seen it before. Telekinesis? An unknown technology? The questions remain unanswered. An office meeting was proceeding normally when suddenly one of the employees gestured for a phone lying on the table to move closer. But the phone slid toward her on its own, as if nudged by an invisible force. Her coworker stared in stunned disbelief. There were no strings, no devices, no sign of trickery. A man picked the phone up, checked it. Nothing unusual. Yet, from their faces, it was clear. They realized they had just witnessed something extraordinary. On a busy street, a strange ring appears in the sky, looking like a flash of light, and at that very moment a person jumps out of it and runs off, vanishing into the city's alleyways in an instant. The crowd, is dumbfounded. Could it really be a genuine window to another world? What if such portals open from time to time, allowing someone to slip through into our reality? On a regular road, the entire scene suddenly changes. A truck swerves unnaturally, and just then, out of nowhere, a woman in a white coat materializes in the roadway. She calmly continues walking while witnesses glance around nervously. A similar incident occurred in one of the Asian countries. Right on a crossroads, a child suddenly appeared. People wonder if it is a glitch in our reality, or if someone is literally moving between worlds. Starting in mid-autumn, a video from Russia has been circulating online. A group of young people stands on the street, chatting. Suddenly, behind one of them, a cyclist appears and quickly rides away as if popping out of thin air. Maybe they simply did not notice him in the crowd, but those who studied the footage swear he emerged from nowhere. One doorbell camera shows a man stepping out of his house and then a flash, and the man is gone. The internet was abuzz with alien abduction theories, but the man in the footage claimed it was just a glitch in the recording. Nothing more. Yet some did not believe that technology can fail in that way, insisting he truly vanished into another world. The debates continue to this day. A similar video from another camera shows a man walking along and abruptly disappearing, as though dissolving into thin air. Some say, well, that is just a common filming error, while others see signs of the supernatural. Could he be an entity that takes human form, or a traveler from a parallel dimension? There are no solid facts, and the feeling of eerie mystery only grows stronger. Another situation. Passers-by notice a woman standing motionless in the middle of the sidewalk. It is as if she stopped breathing. No facial expression, not the slightest movement. Minutes pass, and she remains frozen. Only later does she go on her way as though nothing happened. Some dismiss it as a sudden system freeze in her mind. But some believe the woman literally fell out of the flow of time and then returned. Sometimes an unknown person appears at just the right second. A man was walking past a store and lightly tapped the shoulder of the shop clerk so he would turn around. At that very split second, a heavy barrier swished by just inches above the clerk's head. It was as if that stranger had foreseen the danger. Did he truly sense it coming, or were we witnessing the work of some guardian angel? This is how our new episode turned out. If you enjoyed it, please leave a comment to support our channel and help with promotion. Also, be sure to subscribe to our channel and watch our previous episodes right now, which have appeared on your screen.